Alright, at Junior Search we looked at these special triangles, okay? And it's to deal with the angles 30, 60 and 45. So if ever they ask you to write sine of 30 or sine of 60 without using your calculator, you can use these triangles, okay? So the first one is a right-angled isosceles triangle of equal side length 1 unit. So that means these two are your equal sides and they're 1 unit. If it's right-angled, what's that angle in there? 45, okay? Because that's 90, the other two are divided by 2. Okay, so that's 45, and that one up there would also be 45. So it might be asking you to write down sine of 45 without using your calculator. So for sine of 45, you'd need opposite over hypotenuse. Now, how would I get the hypotenuse? Pythagoras. X squared is 1 squared plus 1 squared. So that's 2. X squared is 2, so x is root 2. Okay? So now, without using your calculator, you can write down sine of 45, cos of 45, and tan of 45. Okay? Sine of 45 is opposite over hypotenuse 1 over root 2. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tan is opposite over adjacent, which is 1 over 1, which is 1. So you're using a right-angled isosceles triangle of equal side length 1 unit. If you're interested in the angles 60 or 30, you're using this triangle. Okay, so this is for 45, this is 60 or 30. You have an equilateral triangle of side length 2 units, and you're going to drop the perpendicular there. Now if I drop the perpendicular, it's an equilateral triangle, so what does that make this side here? 1. And that would be 1 over there, okay? In an equilateral triangle, what are all the angles? 60. And I've dropped the perpendicular bisector there, so this up here would be 30. Lovely. Okay? Again, that's a 60 in the corner. I know it's not that clear. 60 and 30. Okay? Now we can use Pythagoras again. Okay? And we can find sine of 60, sine of 30, and so on. So if we're going to use Pythagoras, the hypotenuse squared is the other side squared plus the other side squared. So that's 4. Take 1 is 3. So x squared is 3. X is root 3. Okay? So now you can say sine of 60, cos of 60, tan of 60, and sine of 30, just by reading it. So you don't need your calculator. So if I'm dealing with 60, sine of 60 is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's root 3 over 2. Adjacent over hypotenuse, 1 over 2, and opposite over adjacent, which is root 3 over 1. And then for the 30, you're dealing with up there. So the opposite becomes the 1, and the adjacent becomes the root 3. Okay, so sine of 30 opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, root 3 over 2, and tan opposite over adjacent, 1 over root 3. So you can either learn that you can just draw this and then you'll be able to get it. You do not need to learn these off because these are all given to you in here. Okay? So they're also all given to you in your calculator, but on page 13, you've got 30, 45 and 60, and then you've got cos, sine and tan of each of them. Okay? So it's just if they ask you to find these angles, sine of these angles, without a calculator, you can do this.
Would they know that, like, how
You have to show them that you're not using your calculator, otherwise they're going to assume you did.
Yeah.